you want to keep it for a while, one would hope.
Now, how do you take care of your hands dyeing all this fabric? Is it hard on your hands?
Oh, phooey.
Okay.
I gotta turn that off.
Yeah. Do you find your hands get achy from
Because I'm old.
Well,
There we go. Okay. There we go. Okay. And we're live. So, hi to everybody that's out there. If anybody's out there. I'm going to work on Timeless Elegance, and I'll stay on for about an hour. So, hi Hannah. I am getting fancy. Hi Carol. You like the double screen, Hannah? Boy, did I have to play around with it though to get it figured out. This old lady had to turn into a techie. And I didn't even have to get my son-in-law to help me. Oh, geez. Oh, Carol, you finally made it. All right. How great. I'm glad you're here. Yeah, I'm going to try and get some stitching done. I think I got this in the frame. And it's rather dark here, so I hope I have enough lighting for you all to be able to see. So how are you guys doing tonight? Or maybe it isn't night. For me, it is 6 o'clock in the evening. Hi, Betsy. Oh, thank you. You like the setup too. Great. Oh, isn't that the pits, Carol, when you want to watch something on YouTube and yet your chart is on your tablet? Yeah, got to make a choice, one or the other. That's a tough decision. Oh, it's 10 a.m. Oh. 6 here. Okay, Hannah, you're at 6 o'clock too. Hannah, you're 6 o'clock in the evening? Where are you? Hi, Kathleen. Oh, Betsy, you're in Virginia. All right. Whereabouts in Virginia? One of my stitchy friends that we go to visit regular lives in Reston, just outside of DC. And then we always go down to see her a couple times a year. We go down to see her a couple times a year, and then in March we go down to and stay with her so that we can go visit Woodlawn. Oh, Hannah, you're in Maryland. You aren't so far from me. That's a hop, skip, and a jump, really. Because I'm in eastern Pennsylvania. I'm east of Harrisburg. So I would say I'm I'm near Lancaster, so that's the easiest reference. About halfway between Harrisburg and Philadelphia. So, Hannah, since you're in Maryland, do you ever come up to not In Stitches? Do you ever come up to Stitches Unlimited in Lancaster? I'm going there tomorrow to a Stitchy Day. Kathy Barrick is actually going to be there. Oh, Irene, it's midnight in the Netherlands. Oh my goodness. Well, yes, go to bed. Watch this tomorrow morning. Oh, here it's hard to know what time to do these. So that's why I try and stagger the times. 11 o'clock in the UK. I figured that. I figured it was going to be late in the UK. But I'd probably get more. Oh, Australia, 9:30 in the morning. That's great, Wendy. Now you're not up at the crack of dawn to watch a video or to watch a live. Up one day, we have a stitching store about 40 minutes. Oh, you're close to Baltimore. Oh, okay. So then you're close to, oh, let me think. Dreama at Needlecraft Corner. Hi, Ari. Oh, it's nice everybody's popping on. Okay, gotta mark the chart. I think I finally got a decent setup. I had to fuss around with this quite a bit, or I didn't say I have to, but I did fuss around with this quite a bit during the day to try and find something that was going to work. That I can actually have you guys see, and I can see the stitch, and hopefully it isn't going to wobble all over the place. Oh, Needlecraft Corner's 15 minutes from you. How great. I order from her occasionally. She seems like a very nice person and always gets stuff out rather quickly. Hi, Jay. I'm counting here. That's the only thing with doing these live, trying to keep up with you guys' comments, which is awesomely wonderful, and counting while you're stitching. You have to be a multitasker. And like I said, it's dark here already. Gosh, I hate winter. Oh, Carol, I think I'm coming to Australia with you guys. And Wendy, you guys are just going into summer, and we got winter here. It's starting to get cold. It gets dark early. Not my favorite time of year. switch. There we go. Gotta make this bigger. Yes, it is. I'm going the opposite way. One of my many pieces where I'm experimenting to see what's gonna. Oh, I gotta adjust here. To see which way I like the best, and not only is it weird for you to watch, it's weird for me. If I like drought and bushfires. Well, no, we get our share of fires here too. Well, in the States, I should say. Poor California is, that's just horrible out there. I feel so bad for those people between fires and mudslides. Yeah, Ari, ain't that the truth? You can't even send the kids out to play at the evening because it's dark. I wouldn't want kids out playing in the dark either. And I'm probably stitching a little slower because I'm at a bit of a awkward angle. What did I do here? And it's a little bit difficult with this camera right at my cheek. And I get rid of the shaky camera, and then I put this on my Lowry stand, and then all my Lowry stand does is shake. Well, we're just going to pull that tight and redo that. This is a little cheater here because I can't get a hold of it to unpick it. So yes, sometimes I cheat. I don't know, maybe I should just hold my hoop in my hand. Here, I think I get rid of shaking and I get one thing not to shake, but something else does. Maybe one day we'll get this all figured out. Well, love to stitch too. I'm glad you're able to drop in tonight. Nice to have you here. Kept missing each other before. Okay. So you have to pardon me while I mark my chart and do all that good stuff. Is there a reason I go from the bottom to the top? No, not really. I was just messing around with another option to see if I like stitching bottom to top better than top down. I started in this bottom corner. Well, actually, if truth be told, I started my normal way up in the upper left corner. But I decided not to do that anymore because when you, whether you have it in a Q-snap or whether you have it on a hoop, whenever you're putting it into the stand, if I start on the left-hand side, because I am right-handed, then I have all that worked fabric to deal with and get it in the clamp of the Lowry. And I just did not like that So I decided, okay, I needed to start on the right. So I don't know why I picked the lower corner, but if you're right-handed, you start in the in the lower right corner. I'm making my X's so that I can always come up in a hole that is empty or only has one thread. I'm making my X's from the top right to lower left, and then the top left to lower right. Hi, Misty. Um, so that's why I'm stitching the bottom up here, so that I can always come up in holes that are either empty or have the least amount of thread. I think I've figured it out and come to the conclusion, oh geez, now what did I do? That my preference would be to start in the upper right hand corner, because then I can stitch the way I normally stitch, and I would still be working right to left, but I can stitch my diagonal from the top down. So I think that would be my preference from now on. Yes, this is a new piece. This is the one that Barb and I are stitching together. It's Timeless Elegance. Nancy, this is 28 count Easy Grid by Zweigert. Okay, I gotta put my other set of eyes on here because something just doesn't look right. Something here is not suiting me. Sorry, guys. I don't know what I did. I just don't like how they lay. I'm finding, Nancy, that I like the 28 count better than 25 count. Oh, hi, Yvonne. Oh, you're at work. Oh. Well, maybe I can find another time to broadcast when you're not at work. Okay. I'm just going to have to get over this being picky here. Okay. Okay. I'm just trying to figure what I got going here, guys. Something's not quite copacetic. I think I got it now. And then this goes all the way over here. Okay. And this one goes here. Oh, love to stitch. Oh my goodness, bless your heart. Amy Stewart's Toy Shop. Oh, I bet that confetti makes you a little bonkers, doesn't it? It's beautiful. I love, love, love her charts. But oh my. They give a whole new meaning to confetti, don't they? Yeah, I really like this Timeless Elegance. It reminds me, and I did several of them. I think I told you guys this back in the 80s. I did quite a few of the charts by Barbara and Cheryl. And this Timeless Elegance just seems to fit right in with that. And I have them hanging. Scissors, here we go. I have them hanging in my kitchen. They used to hang in my living room, but these days there's about a gazillion samplers hanging in my living room. Oh, is that not the truth? Oh, you're doing yours in 10 stitch. Oh, good for you. One of these days, I guess I'm going to just have to give it more of a try than what I have. The 28 count fabric is really, Nancy, is really just feels the same as the 25 count Easy Grid. And I'm finding there's more and more places selling it now. Of course, Heaven and Earth Designs has it. I just ordered a piece from 123 Stitch. Actually, because it's actually cheaper from 123 Stitch. I think when I looked, and don't quote me because I don't exactly honestly remember. But on Heaven and Earth, a yard was $60 something, or $60 and change, but somewhere in that ballpark. And 123 Stitch, the same amount of 28 count, the same fabric, was $40 and change. So till I paid the shipping from 123 Stitch and the tax, I think there was tax on it. Anyway, my total bill came to $50 and some odd cents. So even with the shipping, it was cheaper to get it from 123 Stitch. And I think if you want more than a yard, if you tell them that you'd like it as one big piece instead of multiple pieces, I think they would give you a 2-yard length or whatever you wanted. I believe. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think that is the case. Charting Creations has it a bit cheaper than Head as well. Yeah, I think Heaven and Earth is probably the most costly. Oh, I love 123 Stitch also. Oh, and you only live 20 minutes from there. Oh, okay. They will do special requests for the fabric size. That is good to know, because sometimes I don't find it so much right now because I'm not I'm stitching more Heaven and Earth designs than I am samplers. But when I was stitching a lot of samplers, I preferred, if I was going to buy 2 yards, I preferred it as one huge 2-yard piece. That way I could get more cuts out of it. Where if you're getting just a yard piece, you're limited to what you can cut out of that. And I always ended up with more waste. Oh, I'm thirsty. Hi, Rhonda. Oh, that's good for you guys that are in across the pond. Jenny, Lakeside Needlecraft. Carol, you got your old tablet out to watch me. Oh my God, you're funny. Oh my. Like I said, you guys have to bear with me. I'm still experimenting a bit with this setup. It looks good on your end. It's a little awkward to stitch. Camera wants to be right in my line of vision. Oh, there goes a kitty cat. But we'll get it figured out one of these days. And I was just going to do the stitching camera and not do a double camera, but I changed my mind. Charts on your phone, videos on your old phone. Good way to do it. Okay, 310. Okay, gotta find it here. It's in here somewhere. Oh, there it is. And I have my floss buddy with all my floss here aside of me. I don't know. Do any of you guys use those? Use a floss buddy? I'm finding I really like it. Hi, Teresa. I'm finding I really, really like it because I was always finding when I had my thread in a bobbin box that as your bobbins became more and more empty, then the bobbins would slide down in and they wouldn't stand up, and I was getting very angry at them. How do I kit up my floss for heads? For heids, I wind everything on a bobbin, and I will show you in, okay, let me put that there. Let me move this. A little bit of finagling here. Okay, I put my floss on bobbins, and I don't know if you heard of Bags Plus. Bendy Stitchy is a distributor for them. However, you can go on Etsy and you can also order them. Hi, Diane. But I got a Bags Plus, and this is the one that holds 180 threads. So I have 2 projects in this. So let me back up here so you can see it. But what it is it's a folder, and you open it up and there's a pocket here. And I actually reversed this page because I wanted all my floss to be together. And then it has, let me get closer. It has pockets in it. And then you just put your floss bobbins in the pockets, okay? So that I have them in numerical order, okay? So that way, this lays aside of where I'm stitching, and I don't have to fish through a bobbin box. I don't have bobbins that are getting empty, sliding underneath bobbins that are full. These 2 pages will hold 90 bobbins. So this will hold these 2 pages are one heaven and earth design. And then, like I said, I actually undid 2 of the pages and sewed them back in. So then I have 2 pages here where it's big pockets. And then I have 2 more pages of 90 that holds 90 bobbins. Okay. So this folder has 2 projects in it. This holds, did I show you this one the other day? I worked a little bit more on it. This one holds Once Upon a Time. Okay. Did a little bit more on it, but not too much. So what I do then is, when I'm not working on this one, I can put it in one of those big pockets. Like I can flip to the back here and put it in one of the big pockets so that everything's together. Now, hi Kathleen. I think what I would do from now on, I mean, I thought, oh, this is going to be great. 180 pockets. It gets 2, I can put 2 heaven and earth designs in it. But then what happens is it's a little bit too cumbersome. It's too full. I think I would just get the 90 pocket ones. Unless, of course, I had a Haid that somebody asked me about one that has, was it 238 colors or something to that effect? So that would take even something bigger than this. And this is 180. Hi, Kathleen. So, but this is the system I found I like the best. Yes, I have to wind the bobbins. Yes. Does your thread kink? Yeah, we all know it does on bobbins. That's a given. However, you can, and I don't have any here, but you can take like a little plastic container, cut a piece of sponge, make that moist, and then run your thread across that and just dampen it, and the kinks come right out. Now there is also, let me find a piece. No, I don't use the Pecos anymore. In fact, I'm thinking about getting rid of them. I only have 6 of them. Like when I go all in. So not just 1 or 2, no, I bought 6. And I really am thinking about getting rid of them. I don't use them because what I didn't like about them, yes, you had all your colors. Yes, they were easy to find. Yeah, the kinks from the bobbins, and you're right. The Pecos, the thread was easy to find. But what I didn't like is all the threads getting all tangled together. I just didn't like that. Oop, I got a kitty cat trying to get after my thread. But another trick I learned, Remy, you stay down there, you can't have my thread. And to get the kinks out, Hannah, you can just, like I said, run it across a damp sponge. That does it. The other thing that gets your kinks out is if you have a piece. Now this one isn't kinky, so you're not going to see it. if you wrap each end around your forefingers, one on each hand, okay, that might be hard for you to see, but I have the thread on and I hold it like this. If you just snap it a couple times, when it has a lot of kinks in it, just hold each end tight and snap it a couple times. You can pull those kinks out. There is a gadget that you roll each end on these little padded sticks, and it helps to pull the kinks out. I just found the easiest thing is to just run it across a damp sponge. That's your easiest. Where'd that come from? Why do I have two of these? Oh, because I'm on the wrong thing. Oh, good Lord. That's the other thing. When you got two projects in the same bag, you get your cover. You got to make sure you stay on the right pages. Jay, you have a super size max color, 239 colors. You're scared of it. Oh, dear heart. Oh my goodness. 8 works in progress and 7 are full coverage. Bless your heart. I have a bunch of full coverage ones too. I have to live long enough. Am I gonna live long enough? I don't know. I hope so. But whether it's a regular size heaven and earth, whether it's a supersized max color, attack it the same way. It's one stitch at a time. Hi Nadia, Argentina. Oh, yes, you are one of my founding members on the Facebook group, and I am so glad that you're here and we're able to make this. This is so cool. Welcome. But Jay, it's just like stitching anything else. Work on the diagonal like this, or if you rather work in columns, or find the method that works for you, and that is, I find for me, to attack it in a way that's very systematic, that I have a method. You need to be 385. Yeah, don't we all? But if you have a method to this crazy madness, because we have to be nuts, but that's okay. Welcome to the world, my world. But if you have a system and you use that system and you stick to that system, or you do like I do, you keep experimenting till you find the system that's going to work the best for you, and you're methodical about it, they really aren't anything to be scared of. They're really not. Yeah, don't we all need that lifetime? They're really not. And that's another one of the reasons that I like diagonal stitching, because it is very methodical. There is a method. There's a method to the madness, so to speak, and you have a system. You stick with the system, and we all move merrily along. Now, like I said, can we all live to be 300 to get all these finished? Well, that just remains to be seen. And are you a process stitcher? Yes. Are you a process stitcher, or are you a stitcher who absolutely has to have those finishes? And I think some of that makes the difference too. And like I said the other day, the only one that I am really gung-ho would love to get finished in my lifetime is Stitcher's Retreat. That was the one that drew me to Heaven and Earth Designs. Oh, here's my chart here. Silly girl. I just love that pattern. So that is the one that I really, really, really would love to get finished. The other ones, if I finish them, I finish them. If I don't, oh well. I had fun stitching it. I enjoyed it. Yes, Diane, I think I think, Diane, that is the case. By doing all of the color within the row is much faster than trying to go stitch by stitch by stitch, because that's just way too much threading. Now I'm at a point here on this piece where I have multiple stitches of a color in a row, so it's not quite so bad. But when you have 10 stitches and 10 different colors, that's a lot of threading a needle, and that takes a lot more time than stitching all of a color. Yeah, I hear you, Hannah. I have pieces like that too, where it's every stitch out of 10 stitches are 10 different colors. Okay, I changed my position now. I gotta reposition myself again so I can support my back a little bit. It doesn't always like sitting in a straight back chair. Yeah. Ooh, 6 of one color all in a row. Oh my goodness, you must have been in heaven, Diane. And Ari, I think you're right. I think it's a matter of prioritizing, of when you have so many started and picking a focus. Thread my needle. Picking a focus project, and which one am I going to focus on today? Or which one am I going to focus on in general? And then when I need something different, then I'll pick up one of the other ones. And that's kind of what I'm doing. And I only picked up this one to work on tonight because I could stitch multiple stitches of the same color in a row. So it isn't a lot of color changes. So that's why I picked this one. But my focus piece really is Stitcher's Retreat. That is the one that I really want to finish. And I stitch on that the majority of the time when I'm stitching. And I can work on this one when Barb isn't here, because she's a little bit ahead of me on this one. So I have to finish this diagonal and then do part of a next one before I'm caught up to her. So I still have some I can do before I catch her. But normally I just work on this when her and I stitch together. And that's sometimes, it's usually every 2-3 weeks we get together. Oh, bless your heart, Kathleen. I love Josephine Wall's stuff. Oh my goodness, it's gorgeous, but you are right. It is a lot of needle threading. Love to stitch. You do your diagonals 20 wide? Yes, Hannah, Barb stitches on the diagonal as well. Now, what she does differently is where I do my rows horizontally, she stitches her rows vertically like Brian does, split stitch. If you ever watched his videos on diagonal stitching, or any of his videos when he's stitching on the diagonal, he does his diagonal in vertical rows. Diane, this piece is 28 count. And in all honesty, I like the look of it better than 25 count. The colors are just a bit more intense, for lack of a better way to say it. But they have a nice, they jump out at you a bit more. I really do like the 28 count better, and in fact that's why I ordered a yard. Oh, yard. Because I had talked about Window with a View and had showed you guys that I had it started. Well, I did decide I'm going to restart it, and I'm going to restart it on 28 count because I just like that better. I like the look of the 28 count better. I like the intensity, pardon me, the intensity of the color. So that's what will happen with that one. Yeah, Hannah, I tried doing that vertical thing. I can't wrap my head around that. I can't. Now, maybe if I do it enough and do it long enough, I could. But I tried it a couple times and I just can't. I just can't. I can't do it. I get too confused. So I'm back to my stitching horizontally. What can I say? Okay, thread your needle, Karen. There we go. It's just what I do best. Jenny, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. I really do think that the size of your needle does make a difference. It makes a difference in the wear of your thread. Because if the eye of your needle isn't big enough, then what happens is your thread is going to drag more when it goes through the holes. So that wears it out, it fuzzes. You have to use shorter lengths so that you don't get that fuzzing. Where if you just go up one size on the needle, it's going to open that hole just a wee bit more, that your thread's not going to drag when you go through. When it goes through the hole. I found it makes just a great difference. Yes, and the floss does go smoother. Yes, that's absolutely right. And it's just little things you pick up along the way that little tips and tricks like that make things, yeah, your floss isn't so worn because it's not dragging against the threads of the fabric, and it's that dragging that wears out the thread. And who was I watching today? I was watching, I cannot remember who, because I just had Flosstube on, and whatever came up, it played, and I, didn't switch it, and I didn't necessarily always catch who it was that I was watching. But this person was saying how they felt like, pardon me, I'm marking my chart here. They felt like their stitching looked bumpy. Yeah, Teresa, don't turn it. Keep it all the same direction. But this person, their stitching looked bumpy, and that was her complaint. And she thought that it was dust on it or whatever. Actually, what it was is just what we're talking about. The thread is getting worn, probably because her needle isn't big enough. And then it wears on your thread. It leaves what looks like a bump. And also, if your thread itself starts to untwist. I mean, if you hold a piece of thread and you, I don't know that I can do it, that you can see it. If you twist it the wrong way, that twist starts to come undone. And that's one of the reasons that we let our needle dangle, so that everything twists back up again. So if it's wearing, that is coming, the twist is going away, the thread is getting worn from going through your fabric, your stitching is going to look bumpy. It's really just the nature of the beast, and that's what's causing it. Just those two things alone. So by changing your needle one size, so that if you're stitching with a 28, go to a 26, and make sure that you let your thread dangle every now and again so that you maintain that twist. Your stitching is going to look a lot cleaner and a lot smoother, and you won't get those areas that look bumpy. At least this is just my opinion, guys. I'm not an expert. Believe me, I am just a stitcher who's been stitching for many years, just like everybody else. I'm not an expert. I don't profess to be an expert. I just enjoy sharing what I know with all of you and things that I learned over the years. Do I think my pin stitch would work for 10 stitch? You know what? I'm not sure. I really am not sure. I think if you're using a small enough count. Now, if you're using anything larger than a 25 count, so if you're using 20 count or 22 count even, I wouldn't do pin stitch the way I just did it on here, because then I think I've tried it and it shows. So if you're doing your tent stitching on, say, a 25 or a 28 count, try it, because it may just blend in just the way it does when you're doing a full cross. 25 count, try it. How many threads are you using to pin stitch, tent stitch on 25 count? Oh gosh, yeah, splitting those cross threads is like, oh my God. You need to have a really sharp needle to do it. And it's very, I find it to be very fiddly. And that's why I use the method that you saw me do here Oh, you just kitted up 3 projects. Yeah. Okay, you're doing 2 over 1. I would try it and see if it hides. I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen? You have one little spot where you may see that underlining. I would try it. I can't guarantee it for you, but I would try it and see what happens. Yeah, and if it doesn't hide, then I would do probably an away thread. Would probably be your easiest. Like these here. Just move them up out of the way and then stitch over them. Sorry guys, I don't know how that bottom part came up. It must be I bumped something on the camera. I'm sorry about that, but you can still see the stitching part, so we're not going to get too crazy about it. You need to watch me a few more dozen times. It's really, I think the easiest way to explain it is think of it like you're doing back stitching. Okay? So that you're going, well, I don't have to end the thread yet, but you're really just underlining 2 stitches. And it's almost like you would do a back stitch where you would come up, go down, go 1 thread away, come up, go back down where you did before, and then come up again. So really that's all it is. But I think if you need to watch the video a couple more times, go for it. I get it up 3. Marky? Is that? I hope I'm saying your name right. Oh, your husband, he was a sucker. Oh my goodness. He fell for it. Yeah. Sometimes it's pretty easy to talk him into something, isn't it? I know mine always says, well, if you want it, just get it, and actually half the time he doesn't even know, because he doesn't even know what we have in a checking account or a savings account, because I do all the bills. So he has, not that I don't tell him, I do tell him, but he doesn't remember. And as long as he can get the stuff he wants, and we have the stuff that we need, he really doesn't care. So I just get it. It's just, if there's something I want, like today, when I ordered that fabric. Yeah. Now, do I have fabric here I could have used? Absolutely. Is it gridded fabric? Yeah. Is it 28 count? No. I have gridded fabric in 25 count. I have gridded fabric in 18 count. I have gridded fabric in 20 count. Do I have 28? No. So, I think I need some. I want to restart that one project, so I do need some. How many projects do I have going? Well, you saw that in the last live video. So, do I really need that fabric? No. Yeah, I'm right there with you, Carol. That's how mine is. He just says, well, he doesn't even ask anymore what's in the envelopes or in the boxes. He just says, a package came for you today. Oh, okay, thanks. I don't even tell him half the time what's in it. I mean, it was just when I so that I could run the right software to do. Oh, Jay, that's great. Your hubby stitches too, so he's probably just as addicted as you are. I had to, so that I could run the software that I wanted to be able to do like this pictures side by side, because I'm an Apple person. I have a Mac. I have an iPad. All I had was my iPad, and I couldn't find anything that would do what I wanted to do on my iPad. So I decided, after talking to my son-in-law, who is my techie advisor, he's saying, well, I think you would do better buying a computer, a laptop, or, a desktop. So I told him I was going to buy one, and he said, fine. And he says, just make sure you get what you want so that in 6 months you don't decide that you have to have something else. He says, just if you want, get what you want. So I said, okay, I'll be doing that. I'll be ordering exactly what I want, which is exactly what I did. I'm doing 1/1 on 28 count, and I'm using a size 26 needle. And that's all because of the discussion we had about it opens up the threads, the fabric threads a bit more, that your embroidery floss doesn't fuzz up on you. It keeps it nice. And normally I stitch two-handed. However, and my hand does get in the way here. I am stitching one hand so that I can kind of hold the stand to keep it from shaking around so much. Like I said, I solved one shaky problem only to get another shaky problem. What makes this? There we go. Do I have one? Okay, well, what are we on? An hour. Yes. On 18 count, I would probably go to a 24, Diane. Just so that you can avoid the same thing. I use a 26. Oh, my back's starting to hurt. I use a 26 when I'm stitching on 28, 25, 22, and 20. But for 18 count, I think I go to a 24. Yes, Marika, I've used those needles with the ball on the end too. They are very, very nice. And I do really, really, really like them also. I was a little disappointed though, because Barb, my friend that I stitch with, she had them break on her really easily. She only used one for a few minutes and it broke. So I don't know. Teresa, sewing thread, on what count would you want to do sewing thread? because that is much thinner. Now, I would consider sewing thread if I was stitching over one on, say, something like 40 count. Because if you use floss on 40 count over one, you almost then have to do a 10 stitch. But if you're going to do over one on a 40 count, then I would use, you could use one strand of a sewing thread. You could use Tudor silks. Yeah, I think it would be too thin on 25 or 28 count, just one strand. And I don't know that it would lay the way that it should. Or that I don't know that it would lay the way embroidery floss does, just because it is so much, it is really, really a lot thinner. However, that being said, I know people use those sulky threads, and those are not necessarily specifically for embroidery. They're not necessarily meant for counted cross stitch. They use those in embroidery machines and sewing machines. So something like that, I think, would be appropriate. I think I have a little bit of a mess here on the other side, and I don't know what I did. So I'm going to stop stitching before I mess that up. Linen to stitch a Heaven and Earth design, Teresa? Is that what you're thinking about? Because you certainly could use linen. And you could stitch it over one or over two, depending on the count of your linen. That's certainly an option. But again, I wouldn't use like regular sewing thread, like what is the brand of sewing thread that you use normally on a sewing machine? I don't know that I would use that for this kind of work. Yeah, I really don't think I would. Unless, of course, you had a very, very fine count linen and you were stitching over one, then certainly it would be a possibility. But for 25 or 28, well, I wouldn't be afraid of linen. You just have to count the threads instead of the squares. How about I'll come on one day and we'll do I'll come on one evening and we'll do some stitching on linen so that you can see how it is, because it's really nothing to be afraid. I was afraid of it for a long time also, but once you do it and once your brain adjusts to see, you normally will start to see through. You'll start to see two threads, and it will become very easy. But we can work on that. We can do a video on that. Not a problem at all. Diane, you like the sulky threads? What count fabric do you use them on? And which weight do you use? Like, do you use the 12 weight, or I think there's a 40 weight? Yeah, we'll do it together, Teresa. That's not a problem. Not a problem. I mean, that's why I do these videos, so that we can help each other out. That's the whole point here. And that's another reason why I like the live ones, because then, we can do it together. You know, so that if you have questions or you're not sure of something, we can do it together. It's a lot easier. Oh, well, yes, tell your mom we can do that. We can, or I should say, hi mom, yes, we can do that. I'll do a live video another evening, sometime soon, and we'll get you started on stitching on linen. Have I ever had a needle turn black? Yes, absolutely. My skin reacts to um, the metal. It's something in my body chemistry. I've tried John James needles. They turn black. I've used the cheaper brand needles, and every one of them turns black. I have had the best luck with the bowhin needles. They have not turned black, and the needles with the ball on the end do not turn black for me. So I don't react with that. So it must be made out of a different alloy. And I think I read somewhere that those needles with the ball on the end, those Easy Glide, are stainless steel, I think. But I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that. That's just what I think I read somewhere, that's what they are. Bowhins do not turn colors for me. I can use those the longest. However, that being said, I still have to change my needle out maybe every 3.5 to 4 weeks. Tulip. I never used a tulip. Yeah. The cheap needles and the John James, you're right, Jenny. They turn, I can only use them about a week. And really, I also read this someplace. If your needle is changing color on you, it probably means some of that outside coating is wearing off. And if you are someone who stitches like you want heirloom quality needlework and something that you want to pass down, make sure you are changing your needle, because that stuff, that coating flakes off and gets in your piece, and over time can cause damage to it. That's what I read. Again, I'm not an authority. I just read that somewhere. So that's the reason I do try and change my needle when it's discoloring, or when I start to feel it drag when it's going through the fabric. And you can tell. Yes, I do like those Easy Guide needles. In fact, I haven't used one for a while because I went back to a sharper needle because of trying to split the fabric threads to do a pin stitch. But now that I kind of do my threads the other way, I will probably go back to those. Sullivan's now sells those ballpoint needles, Elizabeth. So I think you might be able to get them at 123 Stitch. I'm not sure. I bought mine from a Facebook group. Oh my goodness, what is the name? Yes, Heaven and Earth also has them. And you're right, Jenny. You can hear it drag. you can feel it drag, but you can also hear it drag. And when it does that, it's time to change your needle. Yeah, they are expensive. They are expensive. Polka Dot Stitchery. That's where I got mine. It's a Facebook group on yes, and bug cross stitch. Diane, you're right. I think I saw that she has them. I always look at that name of the name of her shop and have to laugh. And I always look to see, but there's not two G's there. My last name is spelled Bugg. And I always look at that and I always have to wonder, I wonder if that's her last name. But I honestly don't know. Yes, Polka Dot Stitchery, Joy, that's where I got mine. And I think they were cheaper there. I want to say they were somewhere around, am I right in saying they were somewhere around $2 a needle? I'm thinking. Because I didn't buy just one or two, I think I bought like 6 at the same time, and I honestly can't remember what I paid for them for 6. Oh, and Charting Creations has them. Wow, then they were really hard to find there for a while. They were really pretty new here in the States, and they were hard to find. So it's nice that there are places that are carrying them. Right, Carol, you're absolutely right. If you don't need to toss them, they are worth it. I used, when I first got them, I used the same needle and I stitched with it every day, multiple hours in a day. I mean, I'm retired, so I can stitch as much as I want, whenever I want. And there are days that, I stitch a lot. And it didn't discolor me. I used it for almost a whole year. And still haven't tossed it. In fact, it was starting to bend a little bit. Oh my goodness, Diane, $12 for 2 needles. Wow. Wow, that is expensive. Where did you buy them from? Wow. Carol, you got 10. Yeah. See, I'm either go big or don't do it. You know what? If I'm gonna, needles, no. I don't buy just a pack. I buy them by the hundreds, and I'll fess up. Yeah, Jen, I agree with you. True confessions here, folks. True confessions. When Heaven and Earth was selling bowhead needles, and they had a pack of 1,000, they were selling packs of 1,000. Yeah, put my hand up. Yeah, I bought 1,000. I figured I never have to buy another needle because they'll last me a lifetime. But you know what? When you're changing your needle, even though they last longer, I still have to change them. And I may get 3 to 4 weeks out of one. When you're changing them that often, you go through a lot of needles. And then that's not even counting for the ones that you lose, or I don't do it so much anymore since I use needle minders, but there was that point in time where the arm of my chair was a needle minder. And there was many needles in the arm of my chair. It was probably magnetic. So, you go through needles. I didn't have a problem buying 1,000 of them because I was either going to stuff them in the chair, lose them, or I would have to toss it and get a new one. So I figured I don't even have to buy another needle. I have plenty of size 26s. I was even going to buy 1,028s. I'm glad I didn't. She ran out of them and didn't get any more, so I didn't buy that. But holy Hannah, I could have willed needles to all of you. Or I could have sent all of you needles if I would have done that. Your husband's feet are magnetic. Yes, Jen, you need to update your wish list. Put them on. Yeah. Yeah, I think you will like them. They happen to be my very favorite needle. The other ones that I really do like also, however, I can't always find them. They're called S. Thomas and Sons. They are fantastic needles, and the eye of that needle is ever smooth. I knew a woman who she was actually a judge for Embroiderers Guild of America, and she had told me about them, and I had gotten a couple packs when I found, well, she told me where to get some, and I ordered a couple packs of them, and they were fantastic needles. Except now I don't remember where it was that I ordered them from, and it was so long ago, so I just stick with the bow ends. Oh, Kathleen, you sat on one. Ouch. Ooh. Usually I'm going to end up with one in my foot. Yes, Diane, and Pat Carson needles, the ones with the gold eye, those are really nice too. I have some of those. They are expensive too. I mean, what are they? $1 a needle? If I remember correctly, from when I bought some. But they are also very nice. And if you're going to do this, you might as well have good equipment. Is just my feeling. But that's how I roll. And of course, you have a hard time threading the bowhens. Kathleen, did you try, if you're having a hard time threading it, flip the eye around and try the other side of the eye. Because one side is a little bit wider than the other from how they're punched to get the eye of the needle, how they punch that eye in there. So if you flip it over to the other side of the eye, you may have better luck threading it. Just give it a try, and it may or may not work for you, but it would be worth a shot. Yeah, it may work, and that's what I do. There are times where I use my little handy nifty threading technique. Yeah, try my method. There's a video, I think I forget. I want to say somewhere around number 8, maybe, where I did a video on how to thread a needle the way I do. I actually, guys, I numbered all my videos now so that if you have questions and I need to refer you to one, I can give you the number, which is a whole lot easier. Yes, and I do. Do you know what, Elizabeth? I use Boss Daughter's Way to thread the needle when I am using those Easy Guide needles, because that eye is so tiny. My method of threading doesn't work on those because the eye is too tiny. I can't do it with those. So I do use Boss Daughter's Way of threading when I use those needles. Either that or Puffin Company has a micro threader that works really, really well. Jay, your Q-snap may crush your stitches. I always put a piece of fabric between my stitching and the Q-snap. However, I'm going to say this. I would not, and I do not, get all worried about my stitches being crushed. Because yes, a Q-snap can do that. A hoop can do that. I don't always take my project out of a Q-snap if I'm using it. It may stay in for, as long as I'm going to be working on that project, like on a daily basis or even every other day, I don't always take my Q-snaps off. And when I have moved them, yes, I have seen marks and some squashed stitches from that. I have also seen some squashed stitches from using a hoop. And I'm going to say, don't get all worried. Especially with your heaven and earth design or your full coverage designs. You're going to wash that when you're done. I mean, you're going to be working on those full coverage designs for probably years. So they are definitely going to need washed after you finish them. When you wash them, and when you lay them on an ironing board face down and put some terry cloth towels, I use bath towels on my ironing board, and I lay my piece face down on that and I iron it till it's dry, all of those stitches that looked like they were crushed are going to bounce right back up the way they should. And they are going to look perfectly fine. I've done it many, many times. They're going to look fine. They're going to be fine. So yeah, they may look a little squooshed. They may look crushed, but don't worry about it, because when you wash it and when you press it, they're going to come back out to look just the way they should. Yes, Hannah, you're right. They fluff right back up. And some people, yeah, I think you're right, Elizabeth. The Q-snap isn't as bad. A hoop is worse. And that's one of the reasons I like the Hardwick Manor hoops, because they don't crush your stitches the way the plastic hoops do. And especially if you wrap that inner hoop, you're not going to have as much of a problem with it. But what happens is you put stuff in a hoop and you're pulling it to get it tight, and just that pulling it can squish or adjust your stitches a little bit. But like I said, don't worry about it, because once you wash it and press it, they're going to fluff right back up. Yes, Jen, I press it while it's still wet. I don't let it dry first, because if you let it, I have found, and it's been my experience, if I let it dry first, I have a harder time getting all those wrinkles and things out. I wash it, I rinse it well, I wash it in the sink, in lukewarm water. Sometimes I let it soak, depending on how dirty it has gotten. Then I rinse it and rinse it and rinse it and rinse it till I am sure all the soap is out. I lay it on a bath towel, lay it out flat on a bath towel, and then I roll it. After it's rolled, then I press on it so that all that excess moisture goes into the bath towel. From there, I take it to the ironing board, I lay it face down, and I iron it until it's dry. And as I said, all your stitches will fluff right back up. And then even if your fabric got a little distorted, that's your best opportunity to pull it back into shape. You can square it up again when it's damp like that. What soap do I use? Oh, hi, Nancy. You finally got to make it. Absolutely wonderful. I use one of two. There's a product called Synthropol, and you can find it on Amazon. And that is a product that, if you're afraid of something running, like your threads, your colors running, if you use Synthropol, it's Syntropol or something to that effect. That product prevents the dye molecules from reattaching. Those loose dye molecules that is what you see then as if the thread has bled. It prevents those from reattaching to the fabric and causing a thread looking like your thread is bleeding. You can use that. The other thing I use is Dreft laundry detergent. The laundry detergent we used to, when we had them back in the cave days here, folks, when we washed baby diapers, we washed them in Dreft laundry detergent. It has a chemical in it called sodium perborate, and that's an oxidizing agent, so it will whiten things up without being a bleach, okay? But it's an oxidizer, and that I use. And I use that especially when I'm washing my hard hanger. But I also use it for counted cross stitch, okay? So those are, and it doesn't take much. It only takes a few drops. You really don't need a lot, just enough to give you some suds in there. And the Dreft, if your piece is particularly dirty, I have let things soak in there for several days if need be. It is not going to harm your piece. So you can do that. That's what I use, and then that is how I yeah, Jenny, that's you want to iron them while they're still wet, and then it will look a whole lot better. Oh, Teresa, thank you. I'm so glad. I enjoy these. These are just so much fun. And, if I can help in any way and make this craft easier for somebody, then I've done my job. That does my heart good, because that's why I'm here. So I'm so glad that you enjoy them, and thank you so much for your kind words. I appreciate that very, very much. Yes, honey, you can use a baby soap. Yeah, if it's safe for babies, it's certainly going to be safe for your stitching. Oh, great. This is so fun. Yeah. Okay. So, as I said, I think I got a mess on the other side. I think I didn't pull something through correctly. I'm kind of afraid to look here, or else something got botched up. I'm not sure how to, is it low? Oh, Marta, you are so very welcome. Yes, is it? You know what, Elizabeth? When I started that Facebook group, I never, ever, ever imagined that there were going to be so many people in it. I thought, man, I was lucky if I was going to get 4 or 5. I really thought, man, okay, people, you know how it is. You put something out there and say, okay, do you think you would want to have a group? Do you think would you participate in a group on Facebook? And people say, oh yeah, that's great, that's wonderful, yeah, we'll do that. But then who really does? People forget about it. And I never imagined that it would take off the way it did. Heck, I never imagined my YouTube channel would take off the way it did. It just blows my mind, and I thank you guys, every last one of you, from the bottom of my heart. I looked today, just out of curiosity, and I have almost 6,170 subscribers. Who would have ever thought there are 6,100 people out there that would want to listen to me? I just am just blown away by that. What can I say? I have no words. I really have no words for it. I'm just baffled, because all I do is sit here. I mean, most of my videos, I'm just sitting here yammering about nothing, or answering questions for you guys, and that is the most satisfying part of this. So, Marta, you are so welcome. I am so glad. I am so glad it has helped you, and I could be a part of that. Now I still have to go back to this. It's Scott. Your name is Scottish for lake with your name. Okay, so can I just call you Gal? That would be better for me. Oh, I'm so glad. So while I'm here, Jen, am I remembering correctly? Are you the one that listens to my videos so you can go to sleep at night? I just found that. I just giggle at that every time I think about it. Oh my God. Why would you want to listen to me so you could go to sleep? Yeah, and you know what? So many people have told me my voice is so calming, and I don't know why. I don't know. But if it helps, I'm so glad, and but the whole bottom line is we are all here to, Jen, look at you. I thought you were the one. I thought I remembered that, and I giggle every time I think about it. Oh my God, that is so funny. Hi, Sharon. I haven't heard about new designers yet. I did not. Oh. I can tell you though, I'm sure Asa is working on adding as many designers and making that app as flexible as possible, because boy has it been a hit. Oh yeah. So when I hear anything or when I read anything about new designers being added, I can let you all know. Oh, you guys are just too kind. Oh. No, so I'm sorry, Elizabeth. It isn't made for Windows. I mean, maybe it will get there one day. I know a lot of people have purchased inexpensive Android tablets, or if they have an Android phone, they put it on their phone and stitch that way. Um, that's always an option. A lot of people are using a Kindle, and Good Friday sales are almost here next week. You could get a inexpensive Kindle. I think some of them got Kindles for like maybe $20 or $30 that they had them on sale. So for that, it would be worth. Oh, Sharon, you got 2 Carolyn Manning designs, and they worked on the Pattern Keeper? How cool. How great is that? Yeah, and I think more and more are now working. I think Charting Creations works now. I want to say Artisy works. I want to say Golden Kite. But if you already have a Golden Kite, you may have to contact them for a key or something to get it, to be able to open it in Pattern Keeper. But I'm pretty sure that they work now. I'm trying to think. 2 of the 4 work. Yeah, some do, some don't. I put in Teresa, you are so right. I can't go back to paper. I can't. No. No. What can I, no, not paper. If worse comes to worse and I'm going to stitch something that I can't use Pattern Keeper, I will go back to Goodreader for that pattern and use that. I can't do paper anymore. I'm spoiled. I'm spoiled rotten. I just can't. Oh, and a lot of it's because I can't make it. You can only enlarge paper so large, and I like the fact that you can enlarge this. Yes, and you get so lost. Absolutely, Marta. Oh my God. Oh my God. I love the fact with Pattern Keeper that, if you're going to work on a certain symbol, you can see exactly where that symbol is in the area that you're working. And it's just so nice. It really does. It really does spoil you. And I think I had said the last time, what I even started doing now is, even if it's in the very next row, I'm marking exactly where I parked my thread, which helps a ton. Because if you get to that on your chart, if you are at that stitch that's marked that there should be a thread there and there isn't a thread there, then right away something's at the wrong spot. And it's a whole lot easier to figure out where your mispark is. And you can just figure it out so much faster. Yes, Elizabeth, you're right. That paper gets so beat up. I know what I did or used to do before I started going to electronic charts is I would take my chart, however big it was, and I would tape the whole darn thing together. So sometimes, I'd end up with this big chart. So then I would fold it up to the section that I was working on. So then every time I finished that section, then I had to open it up and refold it to another section. And until you were all done, it was getting so worn and tattered and just too much trouble. Oh, that's a shame, Nadia. Her golden kite was purchased a long time ago. Oh, and I'm so sorry about your grandma. Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame that you can't. I guess they're just being cautious. Yeah, and their charts are pricey. Yeah, and that always makes me laugh too. Their charts are really pretty, I think, pretty expensive. And some people, I know I read on Heaven and Earth designs about, oh, the cost of the charts, the cost of the charts. And it's like, oh, honey, have you ever looked at some of the other places? Because these charts are not expensive compared to like a golden kite or what's the other ones I looked at? Scarlet quince. You know, some of those are really getting up there in price. But hey, we're all addicted, and I am just as much a chart collector as I am a stitcher. And I really should turn this over and see what for mess I have on the other side here, because I know it's probably bad. I feel a big mess. Should we look? Let me peek first. Maybe you don't want to see. Oh. Yeah, I got a thread here. Well, you know what? I'm not going to rip out. That's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I might have to just stitch over that and make like it doesn't exist. So here, you guys, you get to see what your back looks like when you stitch this way. Artisty gave some charts away on their Facebook page. Oh, I guess I need to look at that. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do, Loves to Stitch. I'm going to just stitch over that. It just felt a whole lot nastier than it is. But that's what your back looks like. So really, that's really not so bad. You know, when you look at, oh my God, the horrors of some pages. When you look at when I look at some pictures that are posted and the backs of their work, and oh my, I just go, oh my. Yeah, how many people are stitching while you're watching me? Because guess what? Here I sit yakking and not stitching. Oh, that's the story of my life. It's a little hard to stitch and watch the comments and not, pardon me, not lose my place. So Carol, you're stitching. Jay, you're stitching. Sharon, you're probably stitching. Hannah, you're gonna stitch. All right. Nadia is. Oh, well, good. Marta's gonna. Well, then maybe I better stitch here just a little bit more. What do you think? Turn the tablet back on. I had turned it off so that I didn't run my battery down. I gotta slide myself back into place here. Okay, what the world did I... Oh, that's where the mess came from. Okay, how many people have done this? See the thread? See this thread here? It was parked. You know where the mess came from? Let's follow the thread. Follow the yellow brick road. Goes under the hoop. See that? Flip the hoop over. Look, this is my mess. Here is my thread attached. This is my mess. This is this thread. So guess what we're doing here, folks? Yeah, this is called one easy fix. Cut it off. And guess what we're going to do with that? Cut it off. So now, guess what, Carol? We don't even have to stitch over it because I just cut it. Yes, Jay, you can post on the Facebook page even if it isn't diagonal. Because I even did that with the last challenge. I said stitch on anything you want and stitch any method that you want. It didn't have to be diagonal. Marta, you did it too. Yep. And so, yeah, I always laugh when I do something like that. Doesn't happen to me too often, but yep, every once in a while. It's like, where did that thread go? It was an easy fix. Okay, where are we? There we go. There we go. Yeah, I made that Facebook group just for diagonal stitching. However, if you want to post other stuff, go ahead. I mean, seriously. I started it because of diagonal stitching, and for all of us that stitch on the diagonal to share. And I don't want to lose that. I don't want that to get lost in the shuffle. However, I don't have objections to posting other things because, like I said, the last challenge, I opened that up to people could stitch on anything they wanted and any method that they wanted. It didn't have to be diagonally, and it didn't have to be full coverage. It could have been anything. Oh, hello, Crafting with Beautiful Chaos. I love that name. Is that not? 2, 3. One more. Maybe I can go back to two-handed here again so that you don't get lost. And even, okay, let me ask this. Carol, you're left-handed. I would say play around with the direction that you're stitching. The whole premise is come up in a hole that is either empty or only has one thread in it, and go down in the holes that have the multiple threads in them. And as long as you're doing that, how do you change your YouTube name? Let me think. You have to go to your page. Oh, yeah, it is easier when you match names of all your places. Um, Let me see. Do I have YouTube on here? YouTube Studio. You have to go to your page, and I think you go under Settings. And there is a place where you can change your name. And you're only allowed to do it so many times within a certain amount of time. Um, I can't remember exactly where it is, but I think it's under the settings of your account. Try there. If you don't have luck there, send me a message on YouTube, and I'll look it up and let you know. Yeah, I think Hannah's right. A lot of people that are left-handed do start on the bottom left of the page. So it depends on which direction you make your X, like how you form your X's. And then which direction can you go that you're always coming up in a hole that only has 0 or 1 thread in it. So that's what you have to look at. If you look in the files section of the group, I have diagrams on the different corners and the different directions of stitching. If you look at that, maybe that will help you figure out which corner is the best for you to start in. Oh, thanks, Jen, for letting Kathleen know. Yeah, that works. Okay. So you guys are all the best. Well, let's see. Oh my goodness, 2 hours. Holy heck. Where does the time go? Tell me, where does the time go? We've been on here for 2 hours. So you know what, my friends? I really think I'm going to have to call it a night because it's 8 o'clock here. And I failed to eat supper before I started filming this. Don't ask me what I was thinking. I have no idea. And my husband went up near the New York, Pennsylvania border to go bear hunting for the weekend. So he's not even home, which was why this was a great night to do this. Oh my God, Jen, it's 4 a.m. You better go to sleep. I hope you have all. Well, tomorrow, is it Saturday there or is it going to be Sunday there? Bless your heart. So I think since I'm getting a little hungry and it's now 8 o'clock, I think we have to call it a night. Let people like Jen get to sleep. Yeah, and it's been 2 hours. I came on at 6, and it's all but 8 o'clock. So I think we're going to say sayonara. Sleep tight, Jen. Sleep well. For those of you that it's afternoon, have a great afternoon and evening. So yeah, I agree with you, Jen. It is a great time. We are going to have to do this more often. In all honesty, You guys are fantastic. I only had one person who didn't like the live shows. But you know what? I can please some of the people some of the time, but not everybody all the time. So I think this is a great method of communicating, and I wish all of you the best, and I love each and every one of you, and thank you all for coming and spending time with me and allowing me to come into your home and be part of your evening. So with that, my friends, and you are all my friends, and I love each and every one of you, I'm going to say good night and happy stitching until I see you again. Okay, friends. Next time. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.